was a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Grounded in Maine today, an open conversation about being mindful how we show up for the world. Today I'm going to be speaking with my friend Karin Sorensen, who's just super inspiring to me, and I wanted to share that with you guys. She is taking a course, a 9-month farm course. She's also working at 2 farms, and she volunteers at a farm, and she's an herbalist, and she's a yoga instructor, and she is a forager. And I think it's amazing how, I'm just going to say, first of all, she has so much energy, but that she just is so open-minded about trying new things. So without further ado, I'm just going to start this interview. So Karin and I have been volunteering together for this is our 3rd year together?
Yeah.
I think, yes. So Karin and I sort of brainstormed this podcast together. We were talking about how cool it would be to, and this is 2 years ago. We were just talking about how cool it would be to try different homesteading methods and, kind of test them out and report back and just see how that would go. And so we were thinking about doing a YouTube channel, but then that kind of dropped off. And since this is mostly me, I don't want to be on camera. But we are still talking to Karin because Karin is awesome, and Karin is trying not one, but she's doing several things, and she's like super inspiring because she's really, really going for it. And so, all right, so I'm going to start asking Karin some questions, and she's going to tell you all about her. So, Karin, I think we met right after you took the Master Gardener class. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. September of 2019. Good old days, right? Peeling garlic.
September of 2019?
Yep.
Okay. So we were closing out the season. I gotcha. So what drew you to the Master Gardener class?
That's a really good question. And sometimes I ask myself that exact same question for some reason, because I'm trying to think of the beginning of it all for me. And it was, of course, like the big standout is the Master Garden volunteer class through the University of Maine Extension. But I'm honestly not quite sure what sparked that initial interest in actually reaching out and finding that program. I just stumbled upon something, and suddenly things aligned. And then I did the program, and that kind of like really got the ball rolling. But as to, why I came across this particular program, no idea.
And then so as part of that class, when you're finishing it up, you're required to do some volunteer work. And is that how you ended up at the farm?
Exactly. So the first year as a Master Garden volunteer, you're required to do 40 hours of volunteer work, and from then on after it's 20 hours. And I really didn't know where to start because I really wasn't familiar with anything in the area at all. And reached out to my good friend Lynn Holland at the extension, and she was like, well, why don't you go check out Scattergood? And so I did, and it only really took me one day to decide that this is really where I want to do all my volunteer work. And yeah, that's what I continue to do, hopefully.
That's awesome. And so I failed to mention this. I said that we were volunteering at a farm, and Karin mentioned Scattergood Farm. And so we volunteer at this farm called Scattergood Farm. And they have a program called Growing to Give, where we grow organic produce solely to donate it to food banks. And so it's a kind of our passion thing. We met, and we're the Saturday morning team.
That's right.
With some friends, of course. But and so that's where Karin and I met. That's what kind of sparked working with Karin and the others. Like, that's what sparked this podcast. So and Karin, you also are an herbalist.
Mm-hmm.
And you're super passionate about that. I could listen to you talk about herbs all day long.
Thanks.
So where did that come from?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Here we
all the
go
tough
again.
questions.
Yeah, it's a matter of, growing up in Germany. My mom and dad, my family, my dad family, they didn't really do anything with herbalism at all. But still, people in my near surroundings, there was always something with herbalism. Like one specific example, I remember when I was a flight attendant way back when in 1999, the last year thousand, one of my colleagues had a sore throat and she was drinking this really weird stuff and it was honey and onion. And I'm like, what's that? And she talked about it and blah, blah. I guess that really sparked me a little bit. But then I kind of like fell on ice for like 2, 3 decades, really. And now we're here and somehow again here, I just like picked it up. I bought one herb and then another one. Then I needed a shelf and a bigger shelf. And now we need a whole wall, and it kind of like spiraled out from there.
Yeah. Well, and so and it's not just buying an herb, like you really researched.
Right.
You can tell people a lot about pretty much everything the way that you talk about it. You've done a lot of work with that, which is so
Yeah.
cool because I would love to have an herb, like an herb collection. But if someone said, well, I've got a sore spot or whatever, I would be like, I don't know. Where are my herbalist people? Because I don't know. I have these herbs, but I don't know what to do with them. Um, so it's very
Right.
cool that everyone has their specialties.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you just happen to have lots of them.
Right. And I mean, if you don't consider yourself an herbalist, I can like kindly, politely disagree with that because you are able to boil water, are you not? And if you can boil water, you are by definition an herbalist.
You make me feel so
So
good because I can totally boil
no,
water.
it's true because that's all we do. I mean, of course, now thinking and talking to you about it, actually, I take this back what I said earlier. I remember when I was cold and had a cold, my mom would get me tea from linden and would get me tea from peppermint. I don't really think she knew it in the herbal context. It's just something that her family before her did as well.
Hmm.
So it's a little bit learning herbalism by osmosis, I guess. That's like the really, really, truly humble beginnings.
Oh. And we're going to go back to the flight attendant thing because I don't think I knew that.
I
But I
mustn't
know
have learned.
you were saying in Germany that elderberries are everywhere, and you never really
Right.
thought a lot about that, but you know all about it.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's like the this thing in Germany. We plant them in a certain corner, and I honestly don't remember which one. And it's really there. The old saga is still to ward off evil spirits at the core, And then this can be metaphorically, or you can take it literal, because if you work with the flowers and work with the berries, guess what you're doing? You're warding off evil spirits in the form of a flu virus or a cold, sniffly nose, and those kind of things. So in a way, it can be seen, either in the really spiritual realm or just in the earth realm and the herbal realm. And and an herbal elderberry in particular, really, I think, is due to Abby Seymour of Bailey Farm.
Hmm.
She literally, I guess, gave me the balls to be able to make a presentation about elderberry, which what I knew before that was quite broad. In my opinion, but then being inspired to speak in front of a crowd really made me want to dig in even more, to make sure I really give only the best information, not the best information, but like in a sense, the best information you can know about a thing. In this case, elderberry. So that definitely was some kind of a igniter as well.
That's cool. And now you are crazy pants into the farming thing, which is I wish I could do. So your job now, you're working at two different farms and you're taking
Hmm.
a farm training class course.
Hmm.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that happened suddenly. Yeah. And that's, yeah, again, I mean, I guess it's really hard to kind of like want to try it all together and to be able to try it together yet. I don't know the full puzzle yet, the full picture of the puzzle. I seem to be picking up pieces here and there, and they kind of sometimes fit and sometimes they don't. But yeah, the Boots to Bushel program again is something I came across obviously because I did the Master Garden volunteer program, so there's more information that's being sent to me about other programs, and I thought that would be a good time for me to try that out. as I ultimately intend to make our little tiny plot here is a viable business that not only supports the family but also supports the community and the town a little bit in that regard. And the way I see it, I can read a million books, but ultimately I can really only really truly learn if I'm actually getting my hands on it myself. And I don't know how I ended up with two jobs, but opportunity came knocking and I said, come right in, lady. So yeah, that's what happened. If I had more time in the day, in the week, I would even do more. But thank God there's a limit to that.
Right. Oh my gosh. I can't do the whole summer thing. So you are a stronger person than I am. And I can't
Well, I
wait
have
to
to be, I
hear
guess.
more about this course as it comes,
Mhm.
to an end, and you've learned, you've finished the class to hear, what you've come up with. But I know you said that you learned how to run a tractor and fix a
Yeah,
tractor.
a big from tractor, yeah, like a big John Deere, really, really intimidating from the ground. So that was part of the training, of course, and that's what I really appreciate about the training. It's a lot of Zoom classes, obviously, about the basics, the plants, and how to grow them, how to keep them pest free, and how to manage pests and whatnot, and all the good things. And soil, of course, the most important component about farming, good old soil, and diseases and bugs and whatnot. But it also talks about practical experience. We went to one farm visit already before that about seedling starting, and there's a few more planned for the future. So that's pretty awesome. And the program also covers things such as marketing and financing and those kind of things. So
Oh my
it's really
gosh.
comprehensive and really pretty awesome. And it's really nice to know that there's somebody out there. Like there are so many organizations, the small business administration, and there's a few farm specific insurances and banks and whatnot. So it really feels like what I'm embarking on here is something that's really welcomed. Like I'm not taking up anybody else's space or time or whatever. It seems like worthwhile because there's so much opportunity given to us to become a farmer here in Maine.
Right, because it's so much more than just growing stuff. There's,
Exactly.
if you want to do that for a living, you have to learn how to make it a business. And that's so
Hmm.
awesome that that course is even a possibility.
Yeah, definitely. And again, anybody, no, I'm not going to say anybody, this Boots the Bushel program is intentionally there for veterans, the military family. And if there aren't enough people signing up for that, if there's a few spots, then the public gets access to it too. So it's definitely something that anybody can do. And I definitely recommend it if you can squeeze it in. It's bi-weekly. It
Oh,
doesn't take up too much time. And it's really nice and tight.
that's very cool. Very cool.
Hmm.
And so you're also you're also a forager. You do a lot of foraging, which I think is so fascinating. I wish that I trusted my instincts enough to eat something that is doesn't have a label.
Right. Yeah. Hey. That's quite all right. Yeah, I mean, gee, there's food. I'm going to quote Daniel Vitalis here real quick. There's food all around us. There truly, truly is. I mean, look out your window right now. There's probably like 5 things you can eat right there. And you probably, I bet you can also name them. So, yeah, I mean, that's something this is something I think is really valuable to have in these days, in these times. Like from two perspectives. The micro level, I guess, is just food insecurity in Maine. I'm sure there's programs out there that focus on that to show people that are maybe not so well off how to forage in the wild in the neighborhoods and whatnot. And on a greater scale, if we all know how to feed ourselves, should our supply chain totally collapse, I think then we're all obviously better off. And those are the folks who are going to make it, obviously.
Right.
And it's hard to find the time to learn all those things, and that's just the way the world runs. But hey, dandelion, so there you go. It's your food and your
Right.
medicine right there.
Sure. Well, I wonder if there's people that are teaching folks.
Well, I hope
That
so,
would
and I
be
assume so. I
interesting,
don't know, but then if
right?
they don't, then we probably should get on that and create that.
Right. And so this wasn't on my list of questions, but and you also um you have the group, the rewilding group, right? That
Yeah.
you're like testing your skills.
Yeah, the ancestral skills, yeah, just to bring those back into recollection. I mean, those are not lost to any of us. It's just Once you start digging, you'll find them. But if you don't, then that's okay too. Then you just don't. To me, it's just really, feels really, really close to the heart. The first time I learned how to skin, or how to work, not the skin a rabbit, but how to work the skin of a rabbit. That was a little bit of a profound experience ultimately. It really, because at first there was like frustration because, oh God, what am I doing with this knife in my hand? This skin in front of me, what the hell is going on here? But then once you drop that ego bullshit, once you just say, just relax and just go with the moment, then suddenly you find that your DNA somehow knows, and your muscles know, and your hand knows how to hold the flesh and how to cut the flesh with the knife. So it's really something that's really within, that's where we all came from. There's like no denying this. We all came from that, every last one of us. And practicing those skills again, from a pure survival standpoint. I don't think I would survive, but maybe I could make nice blankets to sell. I guess, I don't know. But it's just really good to fall back to those resources that we really have right around us. Acorn processing, it's time consuming as all heck, but it's a way to procure your own food. Like you do this, you collect your own food and you sweat your ass off, preparing it and making it edible, and you do it on your own. And that brings with it like a great sense of empowerment, You don't rely on somebody else to feed you. And that's really, I think, my ultimate kind of like goal to instill in people, like it doesn't take 100 acres or like of whatever, of fields or forests, it's like start in your own front door. Even in the city, there's a tree, there's a linden tree, I guarantee it, you can start with for no money at all,
Right.
just a bit of your time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I I was saying earlier I wasn't quite sure how I was going to tie all this together, but so what I'm thinking about right now is just how, Karin, when you and I were brainstorming this while we were weeding on the farm, we were talking about testing different things out, and
Right.
you're really doing it. Like you're not, this isn't on a weekly basis. This is on a daily basis, that you're testing all these different things out. The master gardener, you're learning how to grow things, and herbalist, and foraging, and the farm training. Like you're learning, one thing at a time. You're taking on all this education and learning how to be self-sufficient and, and sustainable for yourself, which I think is so amazing.
Right. And this should really be how the world works. We should all be able to sustain ourselves within ourselves, within our family. And I mean, it's an illusion to want this back. There's no way we can turn back on that. But it's definitely, I think, helpful to see how other people get there, and then kind of like gently, tiptoeing my way towards that myself. Like, wow, well, I always thought like those people can do it well, but those people are awesome and I'm not. And now I'm like, oh, whoa, I make my own sourdough, my own kombucha, my own yogurt. It's like, wow, maybe I'm a little bit awesome too. Cool.
You're a little bit awesome. You're an inspiration for real.
Oh, thank you.
And
I really appreciate that.
I want to just come to your house and follow you around for a little while. Learn all these things.
Yeah.
I don't do any of those things.
Tuesdays and Saturdays, open house.
We're going to Karen's
No
for field trip today, everyone.
That's right. And I mean, yeah, this is really just the beginning, for me. I mean, I sometimes look around and go like, wow, I did a lot. And I'm like, yeah, no, you didn't. You did a good start. It feels like it really gets momentum, but there is just so much more work ahead of me. Like, I don't think this is going to be all completed, before the next 5 years are out. Like, if I really want to realize my dream, that's going to take a long, long time. But I'm ready.
Yeah, but you've started. You're starting, and you're not saying, "Oh, it's so overwhelming." You just have to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Just pick up that one rock. Seriously.
Awesome. Cool. That's cool. Oh, Karin, this is so awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I'm so glad that you took the time to speak with me tonight.
Absolutely.
So, and you're not really on Facebook. You are definitely on Instagram. And you have a website.
I am, yeah. Not just yet. We'll work on that.
So Instagram would be the best way to find you.
Yeah, for sure. I got my main account is for my Tiny Acre Homestead ME. That's my farm account. And that's the one I'm currently most active on because this is really all I have time for, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
Everything else,
I know
all
it.
my, yeah, seriously, my rewilding, my movement practices, that all has to be in the back burner for a little while longer. So yeah, come hop over on there and find me. I keep it light. That's my main goal. Instagram is my happy place. So I really keep it light and just about pretty little pictures, that's what
Yes.
I'm going for.
So that's Tiny Acre Farm ME for
Nope,
Maine.
Tiny Acre Homestead ME.
Tiny Acre Homestead ME. Oh my gosh,
You
Amy.
got it. You're good.
Awesome. Well, very cool. So I'm hoping that people will be really interested after this conversation, and and you'll get some followers and some extra support.
Oh, it'd be wonderful. Couldn't
Thank
do without you.
Thank you again for listening to Grounded in Maine today, and I'm so glad that you were here for this conversation with Karin. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I just think she's amazing. If you wanted to follow her, I am going to put her information in the show notes, but you can find her at Tiny Acre Homestead ME on Instagram. And tune in next week because I've got another great friend. Have a great week. I want to just take a quick second and thank my guest again. I also need to thank Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast and Jane Bolduck for her amazing music. Check her out at janebolduck.com. That's BOLDUC. Check out her music, listen to her, and love her like I do.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the hate with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder,